This is Hey Heart 143 with Nataly 143 means I love you. Together we're learning to love ourselves and stay in love no matter what life throws at us. We are constantly evolving, changing, growing emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And we have to remember to check in with our own heart as we're propelled forward. When you love your own heart, you heal better, you do better, and you live a more fulfilled life. Hello and welcome to Hey Heart 143. Before I get started with this episode, I have some really exciting news to report. On October 12th, so in about 1 month, Hey Heart 143 will have a self-love event in Burbank, California at my creative space. So keep a lookout. If you do receive my newsletters, you will be one of the first to know. And if you don't, I will have a link to the newsletter sign up. Sign up for it. Spaces are limited. It's going to be a small, intimate event. And I will have a yoga healer expert there, and we're going to do a Kriya to open the heart center, have a sound bath, come in with intentions of self-love, and I will be there to hold space for you. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody's experience is going to be unique and different, but it'll be a fun event. We'll have some networking after and some vision boarding, and we'll have some snacks. And if you've never tried a sound bath before, I highly, highly recommend it. It is so healing and such a unique experience. So keep a lookout for that. Tickets will be on sale next week, and I'll send an email as soon as all that is ready, right before launching the sale of the tickets. Again, it'll be a very small event. So this week I want to talk about, is there such thing as good or bad? It's something I've been thinking about a little bit these last couple weeks, especially after a yoga session I went to last week, where remember the week before in my episode I talk about coming across this big, huge, majestic owl when I was in Austin, Texas. And my instructor actually told us that she was meditating and doing yoga in her backyard in the morning, and this owl feather just caught her eye in her tree. So here it is, following me around again. And I learned a little bit more from her about what the symbol meant for her. And she said that the owl is telling us to look at our shadow. And in this day and age, everybody is, they want to talk about this being a light worker and focusing on the positive. But what about our shadow? So that's the symbol that the owl brings, is that if you think about it, an owl has basically X-ray vision at night to try to see toward the darkness and behind that veil. So that's the symbolism behind that owl. It's telling us to face our shadows and our fears and help us move beyond them to find true joy. So the instructor started the class, and this is really crazy. Every time I go, it's like it's exactly the message I needed to hear. So she focused a lot about just letting go of this fear and looking into our shadows is what I got from it. So she started the class with a story of how this person at work was demoted, and she told us that person feared being demoted so much that they were consumed by this fear. So how many of you have that fear of losing something, whether it's work, or whether you're holding on to a relationship, or you're holding on to, finishing a degree that you suddenly feel that was never meant for you. So now that this person had lost that promotion that they had temporarily, she said she noticed that they no longer look like they were chained. Like they suddenly had this freedom. Like they could be who they wanted to be. They could speak without fear. And who knows, what if this demotion, although financially difficult, I'm sure at the time, but what if this demotion will help this person grow in other areas of the field? What if it's not a bad thing? What if it's this giant opportunity and not a failure? Wouldn't you live a happier life if you looked at it this way? What is good? What is bad? Is there such thing as good and bad? And I'm not talking about doing something evil and morally horrible, but as a person, do you see yourself as good or bad? Do you ever do something where you feel like, oh, that I'm so good, or oh no, I was a bad person today? What about your day? Are you having a good day or a bad day? Are you being a good person, a bad person? Could all this be relative? So she really got me thinking in this class. At the end of my class, I was feeling really good. Sometimes I go through an entire hour of yoga, literally hoping that nobody noticed that there is tears dripping down my face and I'm letting go of so much, and I hope you didn't see me cry. And other times I'm just trying to quiet my mind the entire time. And this time I was really just feeling pure joy. And pure joy with no reason from anything external. There's nothing different, no huge change in my life, but I'm just feeling pure joy on the inside. At least I was that day. I still have ups and downs on a daily, but in that moment I was feeling pure joy. And for some reason, whenever I choose to go to this class, I hear a message that's exactly what I needed to hear. So hearing the story made me feel like I think I let go of a certain side of me, similar to this person who got this demotion. This feeling of complete freedom, I feel, is on this verge of being reborn. And I think that's why these signs of rebirth continue to follow me. I spoke about this last week, those symbols of rebirth and cycles of life, with the owl and the bats, and then pulling the Kali card. Kali is known as the angel of death, and rebirth and cycles of life. So before class, we pull these angel cards, and what I got was a card that said the Comfort Card by Archangel Azrael. The message said, even the strongest person experiences upsetting situations, and there's no shame in taking time to heal your heart. Well, thank you for that message. This is a good time for quiet reflection upon your true feelings, writing them down in a private journal, and call upon me to bring comfort to your heart and mind. I can help you sleep better at night and put your mind at ease. So I have been journaling a lot and not so private, using this podcast to talk about my feelings, but I'm hoping that this is healing, just as healing for others as it has been for me. So the other card that I pulled said that to embrace spirit, and it had a photo of an eagle on it, so it's an animal card. I looked up the eagle, and eagle conveys the powers and messages of the spirit. It's man's connection to the divine because it flies higher than any other bird. The eagle brings the message of this renewed life. So again, this rebirth, renewal following me, because it's associated with the east wind. East winds, the direction of spring, dawn, and rebirth. This says that you're a spiritual being living a physical life. It says to embrace the spirit in your journey and reaffirm the connection to the divine. The message ends with saying both creative and destructive, beautiful and ugly, are born of divine. So this takes me back to the message of good and bad. I had to talk about what that message meant and what I learned from my last relationship. And I continue on the daily to struggle to find lessons in this. Yes, I'm a lot wiser. I don't make excuses for other people's actions. I see where I could have paid closer attention instead of turning a blind eye. And that's just some of the lessons. There's a whole lot more in my private journal. I should do a Dear Diary episode someday. Innately, I feel like I have this giant heart of goodness filled with love and care and this impulse to help and heal and just be good. I think as I learn more and as I feel that I'm getting wiser with dealing with these feelings and listening to my heart, my leadership has changed. Today it's very different. I hope to heal by being a leader and by just holding space and allowing others to have their own experience. And I feel like it's up to the individual. This is probably one of the lessons that I took from my heartbreak, is that you can't help someone heal as if they're not ready, or if they don't want to, or if they are avoiding certain parts of themselves, or maybe like the shadows. That's what the owl says. The owl says to look at our shadows. And maybe I haven't been looking at all of my shadows, and that's what's coming up for me a lot recently. And I really think that all relationships, whether you stay in it forever or they end or they're so temporary, I think they're supposed to teach us something about ourselves. At least I hope so. So when I told my yoga instructor that I don't know where this mirror was, where was this mirror? And what was I supposed to see? Because I thought I was looking inside a mirror. I told her I never judged, and she stopped me right there and immediately knew that I had always tried to be, quotes, in quotes, good. Why? I feel like I still have to figure that out, but it's probably because I like the praise, or it could be because I don't want others around me to be stressed out and then go into this vicious cycle of me being that empath and feeling that stress on others. And that's probably why if I do ever cry in front of anyone, the first thing I say is I'm sorry. And I'm learning to be like, well, this is what I'm feeling right now. So then she told me, maybe you could have judged. Did you think that judging is bad? Why did you think it's bad? That was one of those mind-blown moments. Maybe I should have judged. Maybe it isn't bad to judge. Is it bad? Maybe judging would have raised some questions, and maybe it opens you up to conversations you wouldn't otherwise have. Is it bad? Think about that one. She told me that she struggled a lot with good and bad in her 20s and trying so hard to be this good person. Today she told me that she felt there's no such thing. There's no such thing as good and bad. And again, I don't think this means go throw your morals out the window and be evil, but this notion of holding on so tightly to what our culture has ingrained in us to be good, to be a lady, to bite our tongue, to not judge, to you name it. I think it might be hurting us in the long run. Something to think about. My experience is just that. My life experience. The people who have come into my life and hurt me is just that. My pain and my healing. But I hope this little story gets you thinking about your image and your connection to these labels of good and bad. And meditate on it. See if it's hurting you or helping you. Are you holding on to being labeled good? Is that actually a good thing or a bad thing? Is there such thing as good or bad? Something to think about. Remember, 143 means I love you. Tell your own heart, I love you. In the coming weeks, I'm going to have more guest episodes, so keep a lookout for that. And if you haven't done so already, sign up for my newsletter. You can go on heyheart143.com, sign up for it, so you can find out about the upcoming Self-Love Day at my creative space in Burbank. Tickets will be up next week, so I'm really excited to put that together and have the sound bath by sound bath expert, Harpreet. I will share all that in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love it if you guys can head over to iTunes and give Hey Heart 143 a rating. That is the only way that more people can hear these messages and find the podcast. Thanks for spending time with me today.